The Story of the Two Brothers by Egyptian Classical Tales. Brought to you by TellStory.net, stories from around the world. Long ago in Egypt, there lived two brothers, Anpu, the elder, and Bada, the younger. After their parents died, Bada came to live with Anpu and his wife, working the land they had inherited together. Anpu was a man of standing in his village. He owned fertile fields along the Nile, cattle that grazed in green pastures, and a house painted with bright colors. His wife managed the household with care. Bada served his brother faithfully. He was blessed with great strength, able to plow in a day what would take others a week, and possessed the rare gift of understanding the speech of animals. The cattle told him where the best pastures lay, and the birds warned him of coming storms. Every morning the brothers rose before dawn and worked side by side until sunset. Bada drove the cattle to pasture, Anpu managed the grain stores and traded with merchants. At day's end they returned home together, tired and content. This good life might have continued without end, but trouble entered through the heart of Anpu's wife. Watching Bada's strength and youth, her feelings shifted from respect to dangerous desire. One day when Anpu had traveled to sell grain at the district capital, she found herself alone with Bada as he prepared to take the cattle out. She approached him and said plainly that he was handsome and strong, and asked why he toiled so hard for his brother when he could have far more. Bada stepped back, troubled.
"Sister, what other words do you have for me? My brother is like a father to me. Do not speak this way again, and I will say nothing of what has passed between us,"
he said, using the respectful title for his brother's wife. He turned and walked to the fields. The woman, afraid of what Bada might reveal, resolved to speak first. When Anpu returned that evening, he found his wife on her bed, her garments torn and her face wet with tears, claiming that Bada had come at her while Anpu was away, and that she had barely fought him off. She wept and shook until Anpu believed every word. His heart went cold, then hot with rage. He took up his bronze dagger, sat in the darkness, and waited for morning. Just before dawn, Bada returned from the fields as usual, driving the cattle ahead of him. As he neared the house, the lead cow turned her head and spoke a warning.
"Your brother waits inside with a drawn knife. His wife has filled his ears with lies."
The second cow confirmed it. Bada crept to the window and saw Anpu standing inside, gripping the dagger. He called out from the courtyard, and Anpu burst through the door.
"Betrayer! Destroyer of my house!
"Someone has lied to you. I rejected your wife's advances and said nothing. You know my heart. Have I ever once failed you?"
Bada cried, keeping out of reach. Anpu lunged, and Bada fled into the fields. As Bada ran with his brother at his heels, he cried out to Ra.
"You who know truth from falsehood, I am innocent. Help me now."
Ra heard him. Between the two brothers a great river appeared, wide and swift, teeming with crocodiles. Anpu halted at the bank. Across the water, Bada caught his breath.
"Your wife lied. I will prove my innocence to you here and now."
He drew his knife and mutilated himself, proof that the accusation against him was impossible, casting the severed parts into the water where the crocodiles took them. Anpu stood on the far bank, watching. As the truth of what his brother had done sank in, the rage drained from his face and left only horror and shame. Bada spoke across the water, his voice steady though he had fallen to his knees.
"I cannot stay near you now, so I will go to the valley of the pine. I shall place my heart in the flower of the great pine tree at the valley's center. If that tree is ever cut down, watch for a jar of beer that foams in your hands. That is the sign I need you. Come at once. Find my heart and place it in cool water. Do not be slow."
He rose and walked west into the desert. The gods, seeing his suffering and innocence, gave him a new life in the Valley of the Pine. He built a house there, and in time the gods fashioned him a wife of remarkable beauty. He kept his promise and placed his heart in the topmost bloom of the great pine, out of reach of ordinary harm. Anpu returned home and found his wife going about her work as though nothing had happened.
My brother proved his innocence. He proved it in a way that cannot be argued with,
he said quietly. Her face went pale. He killed her that day and fed her body to the dogs, the fate for those who bring ruin to a family through false witness. Then he sat in his empty house and wept. For 7 years, Anpu lived alone. Without Bada's labor, his fields gave less. Without Bada's understanding of animals, his cattle scattered. He kept a jar of beer close by and watched it each evening for the sign his brother had described. The beer remained still. In the Valley of the Pine, Bada lived well enough. His wife was devoted, his house lacked nothing. But the ease of his old life, rising beside Anpu before dawn, sharing a meal at day's end, was not replaced by any of it. In the 8th year, Pharaoh's scouts came upon Bada's wife by chance in the valley and brought word of her beauty to their master. Pharaoh sent soldiers to take her. Bada's wife, drawn by the promise of becoming queen, told the soldiers how Bada could be destroyed, cut down the great pine. They did. The tree fell, and Bada's heart was destroyed. He dropped dead in the valley. That same evening, far away, Anpu raised a jar of beer to his lips, and it foamed violently in his hands. He set it down at once, gathered what he needed, and left for the Valley of the Pine. He found the great pine cut to pieces, the house empty, and his brother lying still in the sand. He searched the scattered branches for 3 days. On the 4th morning he found it, a small seed, faint with life. He dropped it into a cup of cool water. The seed swelled and pulsed. Bada opened his eyes.
You came.
I should never have let it come to this.
He could find no other words. Bada gripped his brother's arm.
What was done is done. You are here now.
Bada's life was restored, but the valley was finished for him. He changed first into the sacred Apis bull, a creature whose appearance was taken as a divine sign, and traveled to Memphis, where Pharaoh received him with great ceremony. Bada's wife, now queen, felt unease when she saw the sacred bull. She persuaded Pharaoh to have the animal sacrificed. When the bull's blood touched the ground, 2 great persea trees sprang up overnight in the palace courtyard. When the queen walked beneath them, the trees spoke to her, they knew what she had done. Frightened, she coaxed Pharaoh into having them cut down. But as the axes fell, a splinter flew into her mouth. In time, she found she was with child. The boy born of that splinter was Bada, returned once more in human form. He grew up inside the palace, became Pharaoh's favorite, and in time was named heir to the throne. When Bada came of age, he revealed who he was and told Pharaoh everything, how his wife had betrayed him to become queen, how he had died and returned 3 times over. Pharaoh was appalled. The woman was executed. Bada was crowned Pharaoh in her place. His first act as king was to send for Anpu, whom he named chief minister of Egypt. The 2 brothers stood together again, looking out over the Nile from the palace roof, their hardships behind them, and before them, all the years that remained.